Have you ever walked into a room, hoping he'd notice you, and he doesn't? You post that fire selfie expecting a DM, and nothing. Or worse, you do get attention, but it fades just as fast as it came. Let me be real with you. It's not your looks, it's not your body, and no, it's not that you're too much or too intimidating. The reason you're not getting the attention you deserve is because you've been trained to seek it the wrong way. You've been told, be nice, be available, show interest, but guess what? Men don't chase what's easy to reach. They chase what feels rare. Right now, you might be energetically giving off the vibe that says, pick me, validate me, choose me. And that energy, it's repelling the very men you want to attract. But here's the twist. The moment you stop overgiving, the second you stop performing for male approval, the game changes. In this video, I'm going to show you how to shift from being the woman who waits for attention to becoming the woman men work to impress. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about becoming so magnetic, they don't even realize they're chasing you until it's too late. By the end of this video, men won't just notice you. They'll be obsessed with earning your time, energy, and presence. So grab your confidence, turn up the volume, and let's flip the script on everything you've been taught. Your glow up starts right now. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. The most powerful trigger that makes a man obsess over a woman has absolutely nothing to do with how she looks. It's not your makeup, not your outfit, not your body. It's how he feels about himself when he's around you. Here's what I mean. Most people are out here trying to impress others, showing off their best angles, best stories, best moments. But what actually captures a man's attention on a deep psychological level is when being around you makes him feel like more of a man. This taps into his ego, but not in a superficial way. It goes into his identity. When a man sees you as someone who believes in him, who respects herself, and who challenges him just enough to step up, that's when the obsession begins. Not because you're stroking his ego, but because you're awakening his desire to earn you, to deserve you. Most women make the mistake of doing too much too soon, over-explaining, oversharing, over-initiating. But when you can sit back in your worth and let a man lead with purpose, while subtly signaling that you value yourself enough not to settle, you activate the one thing he can't resist. The pursuit. Men are biologically and psychologically wired to pursue what feels like a reward. So the moment you shift your energy from I hope he picks me to I'm the prize and I choose who I give access to, you become that reward. It's not about playing games, it's about positioning, it's about understanding the masculine mind. When he feels like he's earning your attention, not entitled to it, you unlock the part of him that wants to invest, commit, and stay. And that right there is the psychological trigger most women never use because they were never taught it. So if you're tired of feeling like you have to chase, explain, prove, or wait, stop. Shift your energy. Let him feel the difference. Let him earn you. Because once a man senses that you're not seeking attention, but commanding respect, he won't want anyone else to have you. If you've ever wondered why things start off great with a man, texts are constant, the energy is hot, and then out of nowhere he starts pulling away, I can almost guarantee you're doing this one thing without even realizing it. You're over-investing way too early. Now I know that sounds simple, but let's break it down. Because this habit is subtle, and most women mistake it for being nice, supportive, or loyal. But what you're really doing is giving the energy of someone who's already emotionally committed to a man who hasn't earned it yet. It shows up like this. You reply instantly every time. You initiate plans when he doesn't. You're constantly available, no questions asked. You open up emotionally before he's even scratched the surface. You start acting like a girlfriend before he's even made it clear he wants that. And here's the harsh truth. Men don't chase what they already feel like they have. When you give too much too soon, you remove the mystery. You remove the tension. And without even realizing it, you hand over your value on a silver platter before he's even asked for it. Now don't get me wrong. This isn't about withholding love, affection, or kindness. This is about pacing your energy in a way that mirrors his investment. Not matches, mirrors. There's a difference. Matching means you're putting in 100% no matter what he does. Mirroring means you reflect back what he's giving, with grace and confidence. If he calls, you respond. If he makes plans, you show up. If he opens up, you reciprocate. But you're not overextending in hopes of convincing him to stay. Because let's be real, when you chase, you flip the polarity. You take on the masculine role of pursuing, leading, initiating. And most men, especially masculine energy men, aren't attracted to women who are doing all the work for them. It makes them lazy, disengaged, and eventually gone. So if you want a man to chase you, here's what you stop doing. Stop over-explaining. Stop proving your worth. Stop initiating every conversation. Stop being emotionally available when he's not showing up with consistency. You don't have to be cold. You don't have to be mean. You just have to pull your energy back into yourself. You are not auditioning. You are evaluating. And the moment you start treating yourself like the prize, the right man will treat you the same way, because you've set the standard. Overgiving isn't love. It's fear in disguise. And when you let go of the fear that says if I don't do this, he'll lose interest, you create space for the kind of connection where a man chooses you, because he sees your value, not because you begged for it. So stop doing the most, start doing less, but with more intentionality. Watch what happens. High value energy isn't about what you wear, how expensive your bag is, or how many followers you have on social media. It's not about aesthetics. It's about presence. It's the vibe you carry when you walk into a room. It's the unshakable belief that you are whole, worthy, and complete with or without anyone's validation. And here's the thing, true high-value energy is quiet. It's subtle. It doesn't beg for attention. It attracts it. You don't have to speak loudly, overshare, or prove anything. You simply are, and people feel it. So what does it actually look like? It looks like a woman who knows her standards and keeps them. Not just when it's easy, but especially when it's tempting to lower them just to keep someone around. A high-value woman doesn't chase, doesn't beg, and doesn't panic when someone pulls away. Why? Because she knows that anyone who backs away from her energy isn't meant to sit at her table. It's how you carry yourself when no one's watching. It's saying no without guilt, yes without fear, and walking away without drama when your peace is being compromised. High-value energy also looks like emotional discipline. Not reacting out of insecurity, not sending that third text when he hasn't replied, not spiraling when plans change. You pause, you assess, you respond not to get a reaction, but because you're choosing yourself in every moment. It's also about boundaries, real ones. You don't threaten to walk away, you actually will if your needs are repeatedly ignored. You don't allow inconsistent behavior just because there's chemistry. You understand that connection is nothing without consistency, communication, and clarity. And most importantly, high-value energy radiates from a woman who is deeply connected to her own life, her passions, her goals, her joy. She's not sitting around waiting for a man to text her. She's out here living. She's building. She's growing. She's glowing. So when a man enters her space, he has to add to it, not complete it. This energy is magnetic because it's rare. Most people are walking around seeking something to fill the void inside them. But high-value energy says, I am already full. I am already enough. I'm just seeing who's aligned with where I'm headed. And men can feel this. It either intimidates the ones who aren't ready, or inspires the ones who are. So if you've been wondering why you keep attracting low-effort, confusing, inconsistent energy, it's time to shift. Start with your standards. Start with how you treat yourself. Speak to yourself like you matter. Move like you're the prize. Not in a fake, surface-level way, but in your spirit. Because when your energy says, I know who I am, and I know what I deserve, the world has no choice but to meet you there. Emotional detachment isn't about being cold, rude, or pretending you don't care. It's not about playing games or using silence as punishment. True detachment is about protecting your peace while staying grounded in your self-worth. It's the skill of staying centered, no matter what someone else is doing or not doing. Most women think emotional detachment means ignoring your feelings, but actually, it's the opposite. It's about acknowledging your feelings without letting them control your actions. It's about not abandoning yourself just because someone else is being inconsistent. Think of it like this. When you're emotionally attached, your mood, your self-esteem, your decisions, everything starts revolving around them. If they text, you're happy. If they don't, you spiral. If they act distant, your whole day is ruined. That's not love, that's dependency. So how do you detach without becoming cold or fake? You shift your focus from them back to you. When you feel the urge to obsess over what they're thinking or doing, ask yourself, what do I need right now? What have I been avoiding in my own life? Where have I stopped showing up for myself? Detach by redirecting your energy into your purpose, into your passions, into your physical body, your friendships, your growth. Instead of waiting for a message, go do something that makes you feel powerful, confident, whole. Emotional detachment also means no longer over-explaining yourself. You don't need to convince anyone to see your value. You don't chase clarity from someone who's shown you confusion. You observe actions. You listen to patterns. And when it's not aligning, you pull back, not out of spite, but out of respect for yourself. One of the most powerful things you can ever learn is how to hold space for someone in your heart without needing them to show up a certain way. That's detachment. You care, you have emotions, but their behavior doesn't define your worth or dictate your peace. You stop trying to control outcomes. You stop trying to force connections. You release the fantasy of who someone could be and accept them for who they're actually showing up as. And guess what? When you operate from that space, you become instantly more magnetic. Why? Because you've removed the pressure. You're not chasing. You're not performing. You're being. That's power. People sense when you're not emotionally hooked. You're harder to manipulate. You're not reactive. You're calm. You're observing. You're choosing. That's not a game. That's alignment. So if someone is acting inconsistent, unclear, or unavailable, detach, not to punish them, but to preserve your energy. You don't need to delete your emotions. You just need to stop letting them lead. Detachment isn't about caring less. It's about trusting yourself more. And when you master that, you'll never beg for love again. Here's a truth that might challenge you. If a man doesn't have to work for your attention, he won't value it. That doesn't mean you should play hard to get or manipulate him into chasing. It means your energy needs to mean something. And that starts with not giving unlimited access to someone who hasn't earned it. Now, let me be clear. Making a man work for your attention doesn't mean being rude, distant, or playing mind games. You don't have to ice him out or create fake drama. That's not power, that's insecurity in disguise. What you do need is standards, structure, boundaries, and most importantly, a life that's full without him. A man should feel that your time and energy are valuable, not just because you say they are, but because of how you live. When you're constantly available, constantly texting first, constantly adjusting your schedule to fit his, it sends a message: you don't need to try that hard. I'll be here regardless. And that kills the spark. So how do you shift that without turning cold? You create space for him to step up. If he doesn't initiate plans, don't keep filling in the gaps. If he's inconsistent with his energy, you mirror it with grace. You stop doing the emotional labor for two. You stop rewarding bare minimum effort with maximum attention. At the same time, stay warm, stay kind, respond when he reaches out, but don't overextend. Be soft in your presence, but firm in your standards. Smile, laugh, be present when you're with him, but don't drop your own priorities just to keep the connection alive. That's how you show him that your attention is earned, not given by default. You also show this through self-control. You don't jump to reply in seconds. You take your time, not to play games, but because your life is full. You don't rearrange your entire day just to accommodate him. You invite him into your world when it fits, when he shows up with intention. And here's the magic: the right man won't be turned off by this. He'll rise to meet you. He'll want to show up for you. Why? Because your attention feels rare, not in a manipulative way, but in a way that says, I choose who I share myself with. This is what feminine power looks like. It's soft but strong, warm but wise. You're not making him work to punish him. You're making him work because you know your worth. When a man has to step into his masculine to pursue you, to impress you, to win your energy, that's when he begins to feel something deeper than attraction. He feels respect, and without respect, there is no real connection. So don't be cold. Be clear, be valuable, be intentional. That's how you become unforgettable. And that's how you get a man to work for what truly matters. Feminine magnetism isn't about seduction. It's not about trying to look hot or fit into someone's idea of what attractive should be. True feminine magnetism is energy, not effort. It's how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you move through the world with intention and presence. It's not loud. It's not performative. It's felt. And here's the secret. Every woman has this energy. But most of us have buried it under pressure, people pleasing, overthinking, and trying to be enough. The most magnetic woman in the room is rarely the loudest or the flashiest. She's the one who is anchored in herself. She knows who she is. She doesn't need approval. She doesn't compete. She doesn't chase. She attracts, not because she's trying to, but because she trusts her energy to speak for her before she even opens her mouth. So how do you radiate this kind of energy? Start by slowing down. Seriously, slow your walk, slow your speech, slow your responses. Feminine energy lives in receptivity, not reactivity. You're not rushing, proving, or chasing. You're allowing, you're choosing, you're observing. When you walk into a room, don't shrink, don't scan for who's watching. Be the one watching. Feel your body, be present, breathe deeper. When you speak, pause, let your words carry weight. When you look at someone, hold eye contact, not to be aggressive, but to communicate. I'm here, I see you, and I'm not in a rush to be seen. Your magnetism also grows when you're emotionally in tune, but not emotionally chaotic. You feel deeply, yes, but you're not drowning in your emotions. You let them move through you. You express vulnerability without becoming dependent. That balance of openness and emotional self-control is powerful. It makes people feel safe in your presence, and that safety is deeply attractive. Another piece, playfulness. Magnetism doesn't have to be serious. Teasing someone gently, laughing fully, letting yourself be silly, that's magnetic, because it shows you're comfortable, uninhibited, free, and everyone is drawn to that kind of freedom. Also own your sensuality. That doesn't mean being overtly sexual. It means being connected to your senses, how your skin feels, the scent you wear, how your voice sounds. Move in a way that feels good to you. Touch your hair, your jewelry, your glass, not to get attention, but because you're fully present in your body. That alone is captivating. And finally, don't compete. Radiate. A magnetic woman uplifts, encourages and leads by simply being. She doesn't need to prove herself better. She's too rooted in her own value to need comparison. Remember, feminine magnetism isn't something you turn on for men. It's who you are when you stop performing and start embodying. It's not about being perfect. It's about being authentic in your softness, your strength, and your presence. And when you fully own that, you don't just attract attention, you hold it. Your body speaks before you ever say a word. And when it comes to attraction, the most powerful things you do are usually the subtle ones. These aren't exaggerated or obvious moves. In fact, the more effortless they seem, the more powerful they become. Subtle body language is the language of feminine magnetism. It's quiet, graceful, and intensely magnetic because it creates curiosity. It invites a man in, not with words, but with feeling. So let's talk about how to use your body in a way that draws him in without trying too hard. First, let's start with your posture. Nothing kills attraction faster than insecurity written all over your body. Shoulders slouched, arms crossed, head down. That says, I don't want to be seen, but you do want to be seen, right? So instead, lift your chin slightly, roll your shoulders back, and keep your chest open. Not in a forced way, but like you're simply comfortable in your own skin. That one shift alone signals confidence and openness. Now let's talk eye contact. Eye contact is a slow burn. Hold his gaze just a second longer than what feels normal. Then look away slowly, not quickly. This isn't a stare down, it's a subtle dance. A moment that says, I see you, but I'm not in a rush. That pause creates tension, and tension builds attraction. Next, your hands. Don't let them stiffen up or stay glued to your phone. Use your hands to express yourself. Play gently with a strand of your hair. Slowly trace the rim of your glass. Touch your collarbone while you're speaking. These gestures should never feel scripted. They should feel sensual because you're in your body, not your head. Your walk, make it intentional. Slow your pace, let your hips sway naturally. Don't rush or stomp. Move like you've got nowhere to be, like you're fully at ease in your environment. Men notice this kind of movement because it radiates presence, not performance. And don't underestimate the power of stillness. When you're truly magnetic, you don't need to fidget or fill every silence. Just being relaxed, calm, fully grounded says more than you ever could with words. That calm, centered presence is captivating. Now, what about mirroring? This is a subtle but psychological trigger. When you're in sync with someone, leaning in slightly when they do, sipping your drink when they sip theirs, subtly matching their tone, it signals connection. But the key is to keep it minimal and natural. You're not copying, you're harmonizing. Lastly, remember your body isn't there to perform, it's there to express your energy. The more in touch you are with your emotions, the more naturally your body will communicate them. Confidence doesn't come from forcing poses or fake flirtation. It comes from feeling safe in your own body and letting that energy move freely. When you master subtle body language, you don't need to chase attention, it comes to you. You become the kind of woman people can't stop looking at, even if they don't know why. So let's bring everything full circle. Everything we've talked about, emotional detachment, feminine magnetism, subtle body language, high-value energy, it all leads to one powerful truth. You are the prize, not because you look a certain way, not because you follow a list of rules, but because you've made the decision to know your worth, honor your energy, and stop settling for less than you deserve. Being the prize isn't about ego. It's not about being above anyone. It's about understanding that your time, attention, and presence are not things you give away freely. They are earned. And not because you're trying to play hard to get, but because you finally realize you were never supposed to be chasing in the first place. The woman who becomes the prize is the woman who no longer chases, begs, over-explains, or doubts herself every time someone doesn't show up. She doesn't spiral when a man pulls away. She doesn't lower her standards just to keep someone interested. She stands still in her power and lets alignment find her. That kind of energy is rare, and because it's rare, it's respected. The moment you stop proving yourself to men is the moment men start proving themselves to you. And the ones who can't, they fall away, not because you lost anything, but because you were never meant to carry dead weight in the first place. Being the prize means you lead with value, not validation. You're not waiting to be chosen. You're doing the choosing. You're not obsessed with attention. You're focused on your evolution. You're not looking for a man to complete you. You're inviting one to add to a life that's already full. So if you've ever questioned your worth, if you've ever wondered why they don't stay, why they lose interest, why they choose someone else, let this be your turning point. You were never meant to chase breadcrumbs. You were never meant to fight for basic affection. You were meant to rise, to radiate, to receive, because the prize doesn't beg to be claimed. The prize waits to be earned. And once you truly start living that truth, not just saying it, but believing it in every move you make, everything around you shifts. So from this moment on, remind yourself, I don't chase, I attract, I don't beg, I receive, I don't prove, I embody. You are not hard to love. You were just giving your energy to people who didn't know what to do with it. But now you do. You've seen the difference. You feel the shift. So don't look back. Level up. Hold your standard. Walk like the prize. Because that's exactly what you are.